going on, guys? Welcome back to Cam's Corner. Welcome to the second episode of Cam's Corner. I'm your host, Cameron Diebold. Did not put out an episode last week because of Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a healthy, happy, safe Thanksgiving. Hope you guys ate some good food. Maybe watched some football, terrible football on Thanksgiving Day. But that's why I didn't get to put an episode last week. Doing some stuff with the family, hanging out, enjoying my holiday. Gonna put one out this week. Gonna talk about week 12 in the NFL. Gonna touch a little bit on MLB Offseason coming up. And then I'm gonna give my 3 best bets for week 13. And that'll be all for this episode. I'm gonna try to put out maybe another episode over the weekend or early next week of maybe a challenge or different content away from sports. I don't want to only talk about sports on this show. I want to talk about pretty much everything, maybe pop culture, maybe news. So I'm going to try to put out more content, maybe do a challenge and see, so you guys can enjoy some more content other than just sports. So we'll get into the week 12 recap. It was some good games, some bad games. Some games that stood out to me that I highlighted, wrote down. First one was the Patriots and the Cardinals. Patriots win this one 20-17. Very ugly game, bad game. I expected the Cardinals to actually win this game. I was considering betting them because they were only -2 and I liked them. In this one, Patriots end up winning 20-17. Again, it was a bad game, ugly game all around. Cam Newton probably plays his worst game as a Patriot, threw for like 74 yards, 2 picks. Thought the game was over, he threw a pick late. Cardinals come down the field, they try a 45-yard field goal with Zane Gonzalez, goes wide right. Patriots have about 1:40 left. They drive 30 yards down the field. Nick Folk kicks a game-winning 50-yard field goal. Patriots win. Cardinals are a tough team to measure right now. They're very up and down. Kyler Murray has some good games, has some bad games. I feel like they're worse off when he doesn't use his legs. He wasn't running as much in this game. He was kind of almost sitting back there waiting for someone to get open. Got sacked a few times, got a couple balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. When he is mobile, when he is running, that's when the Cardinals are most dangerous because teams have to take that into account first. Like, oh, we got to stop his legs. And then he could start using his arm to beat them over the top. Murray should get back to his running ways. The Cardinals will be a better offense when he starts doing that again. But that's the biggest thing I noticed in that game, because other than that, their offense looked absolutely terrible. Ugly game, Patriots win. The story of the weekend, I guess, was the Broncos quarterback situation. Obviously, they had a positive COVID test. All the quarterbacks were in the same room, didn't wear a mask. All considered high contact, can't play on Sunday. Broncos have to go to a guy named Kendall Hinton. He played a little bit of quarterback at Wake Forest, but it wasn't really a fair game. You could just see it based on the line. The Saints were -6.5 normally. That happens. The changes happen with the quarterbacks. They go into the game at -17, and it was still a very safe bet because, again, you're playing a quarterback that doesn't know the offense, hasn't played quarterback since college. It was pretty much just like a scrimmage for him. Like, hey, do what you can. And it was a very weird strategy to me because it seemed like, as I was watching that game, every route that the wide receivers and the tight ends were running was down the field. There was no short routes. Every ball he was throwing was at least 10 yards down the field, and I feel like that was just a recipe for disaster from the beginning. Instead of running maybe short slants, some short outs, some curl routes, dumping it off to his running backs, they were running the ball, throwing the ball down the field. Just seemed like from the get-go that they had no chance, and they did have no chance. He ended up 1 of 9 for 13 yards, 1 completion to his tight end on like a little screen pass misdirection that went the other way. But again, this game, it just wasn't fair. The Broncos put themselves in this situation. It was on their quarterback, so it's their fault. I'm glad the NFL didn't cancel the game because it's not fair to discipline another team for another team doing something wrong. So yeah, I'm glad that the NFL kept the game on. Saints demolish them, they dominate. Broncos should be getting their quarterbacks back this week, but they can't be doing that. It wasn't fair to Kendall Hinton. All respect to him for even trying and doing what he can. 49ers beat the Rams 23-20. This was a weird game. I fully expected the Rams to easily win this game. I didn't love the line. It was a little too big, but I thought the Rams were going to win. It was an ugly game again. Defense, I figured it was going to be low scoring, a lot of defense. 49ers defense is still pretty good. Rams defense is very good. But the Rams offense is just so up and down. This is another team like the Cardinals that you don't know what to get. You don't know what you're going to get from them each week. One week they beat the Bucs, they look great. The next week they come out and they can't even beat a 49ers team with Nick Mullins as quarterback. So I don't know how to feel about the Rams. Again, they're very up and down. This game was ugly, very low scoring. Jared Goff didn't look that great. That division is so up in the air. I still want to give the edge to the Rams just because of their defense, but the Seahawks defense is starting to play better. Seahawks might end up winning that division. Either the Rams or the Seahawks, whatever team doesn't win the division will probably get a wild card, but again, I just don't know how to feel and how confident I am in any of those teams in the NFC West as of right now. What everyone expected was the game of the weekend was a pretty entertaining game. It was the Chiefs and the Bucs. Chiefs go up 17-0 into the first quarter. Tyreek Hill had 7 catches. I believe it was 202 yards and 2 touchdowns at the end of the first quarter. They could not stop him. I don't know why they were even trying to cover him man. It's not a good strategy. You have to put a safety over the top, double him, do whatever you have to. I mean, he was shredding their defense. It was 17-0. The only hope I was having, I wanted the Buccaneers to keep the game close because I wanted to see Hill break every record. I mean, he was on pace to break every record, like receiving yards, catches, touchdown, everything. Buccaneers started to make it close and then finished the game very close, but Hill didn't have as great of a second half. He finished the game with 13 catches, 269 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And a crazy performance from him, but the Chiefs kind of fell apart late and gave the Buccaneers a chance. Although they didn't look great towards the end of the game, I don't see the Chiefs losing another game this year, including the playoffs and the Super Bowl. I think they run the table. Their offense is just too good. I don't see any team defense-wise being able to slow them down or any offense being able to keep up and score with them at that pace. Mahomes will likely win MVP. Again, their offense is too good. I would bet on them right now to win the Super Bowl. Is not going to pay out a lot, but I just don't see a team beating them. Get to the Sunday night game, the Packers and the Bears. I don't know why the Bears are playing on primetime anymore. If they have another primetime game, the NFL should look ahead to that game and just reschedule them because this team is so bad. This should be the last team you put on primetime. Their offense is so bad. They don't even know who they're going to play at quarterback each week. It's an option between Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles. They both stink. This game was over in the second quarter. It was 27-3 Packers halfway through the second quarter. It was a boring game. The Bears offense, again, it's probably the worst offense in the NFL if everyone's healthy. They stink. There's no rivalry between the Bears and the Packers anymore. This game just, again, it drives me crazy to have to tune into Sunday Night Football and watch a team like the Bears play. NFL's got to fix their scheduling, fix it. I don't want to see this team on Sunday night and then going right into the Seahawks and Eagles on Monday night. I don't want to see the Eagles in another primetime game. They are so bad. Their offense is terrible. Carson Wentz probably is the worst quarterback in football. Like as of right now, if we're ranking all 32 starting NFL quarterbacks, Carson Wentz probably is 32 based on this season he's having. These are the two teams that played on Sunday and Monday. Again, the Seahawks, they only beat the Eagles by 6, a late Hail Mary and 2-point conversion. Obviously changed that. But Carson Wentz is the worst quarterback in football, and Nick Foles is probably just one step ahead of him as the second worst quarterback in football this year. It makes me upset as a football fan to have to tune into Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football and see these two teams play. I love watching the Seahawks play, but seeing the Eagles on the other side made me stressed out just because of how bad their offense is and how bad Carson Wentz is. I don't want to watch this man play football. And maybe on NFL Red Zone every Sunday, 1 o'clock games, a highlight will come up of Carson Wentz, but I don't want to have to tune into a Sunday Night Football game when it's the only football game on and see Carson Wentz try to throw a football or Nick Foles try to throw a football. These dudes stink. They stink, and I hate watching them play. And I know it seems like aggressive because I'm a Colts fan and it has nothing to do with my team, but I just like to watch good football, and that's what Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football are supposed to be for. They're supposed to be for good teams to play. They're the only game on. It's prime time. Everyone's tuning in. Then stop having these teams play. Stop having Carson Wentz on prime time. It's just going to highlight how bad he is. It's probably bad for him. He probably doesn't want to play in prime time. He knows everyone's watching. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to throw another interception. That interception he threw on Monday night was probably 12 yards over the head of his intended receiver. Stop putting these teams on prime time. So I'm going to briefly talk about the MLB offseason. Obviously, season's still a little ways away, but the MLB offseason recently started. Not much action yet. Few players have signed, nothing big. They say it's going to be a fairly slow offseason with the big free agent names signing towards later in the offseason, closer to the season start. Obviously, I'm a Yankees fan. Yankees haven't really made a ton of moves yet. They did a couple moves yesterday. They tendered their fat slob of a catcher, Gary Sanchez. I say that because I hate this play. I hate Gary Sanchez, and I don't usually hate a lot of players on my favorite teams. I actually despise Gary Sanchez. He's not a good. If you're a Yankee fan and you watch the Yankee games, you would realize that Gary Sanchez he's not a good MLB catcher. He's not. He's lazy. He can't catch a good game. Evident by Garrett Cole starting a few starts, and he was like, I don't want this guy as my catcher. Give me Higashioka. He hits under 200. And he'll occasionally hit a home run. That's why Yankee fans love him. I have so many people. There's so many Yankee fans. And I have friends that are like, oh, Gary Sanchez hit another home run. Like, big deal. He hits 30 home runs in a season. Who cares? He hits under 200. He strikes out in key situations. He's a terrible situational hitter. He'll never take the ball to right field. He's lazy defensively. He did fix his pass ball issue a little bit this past year, but he's still very lazy. He can't call a good game, and he's got a cannon of an arm. So he has a cannon of an arm, which kind of hides how bad he is defensively. He hits an occasional home run, but he can never just get like a solid RBI single or a situational hit here and there. Can never take the ball to right field. And he'll occasionally hit a home run. And the Yankee fan, there's certain Yankee fans that just love him. And it makes no sense. You're in love with the Gary Sanchez that initially came into the league his rookie year. And I was too. I loved him. He looked like he was going to be the next great Yankee. But you have to look at the writing on the wall. He's just not a good catcher. He'll go to another team. He'll hit the same amount. He'll hit the same amount of home runs. He'll hit 30-plus home runs. He'll never hit for average. He'll never be that great defensively other than the cannon he has for an arm. I hope the Yankees tendered him just to look to trade him because they don't want him just walking on based on nothing. You don't want to just let him walk. But tender him, trade him away. Go sign James McCann. That might be a little bit of a dream because he's a great catcher. Go sign Yadier Molina. Platoon him with Higashioka. Higashioka deserves the chance to start after what he did in the postseason last year. Get Gary Sanchez, the Kraken, as they call him. Get him out of New York. Sorry, just pause there for a second. I just picture him coming to the plate in October next year in a key situation and striking out on 3 sliders in the dirt. I despise this player for the Yankees. If he comes back and proves me wrong, works hard, ends up hitting, 240, 250, better defensively, I'll admit it. I was wrong about him, but I don't see that happening. So until that happens, get Gary Sanchez out of New York. Get him out of the pinstripes. He's not what it means to be a Yankee, and he's not a good MLB catcher. And I would love to see him play elsewhere, and for him to come to Yankee Stadium and strike out on 3 straight sliders from Garrett Cole. I don't want this guy in pinstripes anymore. Sorry, that was my rant of the day. Other Yankee news, DJ LeMahieu, obviously everyone knows him, best Yankee player, has yet to re-sign with the Yankees. Each day that goes by, it's worse and worse for the Yankees that they don't re-sign him. I think he'll get sick and tired of trying to negotiate, and he'll look to go elsewhere. Cashman, you need to re-sign this guy. He's your best player. He's a top 5 player in the league. He just finished top 3 in MVP voting. Get him back in pinstripes. The latest report I just heard was that he wants a 5th year. Yankees don't want to go a 5th year, and there's a stalemate. No side is budging. If you lose a player like DJ because you were too stubborn to go for a 5th year, he wants 1 more year. He's going to take a discount to stay in the Bronx. He just wants 1 more year. And you don't want to give it to him? Yankee fans, including myself, will riot. If DJ goes elsewhere, I will be at Yankee Stadium the day he signs elsewhere with a sign that says "Fire Cashman," because that is how severe this move is. You need to get him back in pinstripes. The longer it goes, the worse it will be. He wants a 5th year, just give him a 5th year. Because over in Queens, you have that Steve Cohen, that trillionaire with all his monopoly money, just waiting and saying, oh, DJ, they didn't give you a 5th year? Here's 5 years, $140 million. Like, Steve Cohen can do that. He has that much money. And DJ has just stated that he wants to stay in New York. He would prefer the Bronx, but he said New York. He would go to the Mets if you're not going to give him a 5th year. If DJ LeMahieu is in a Mets jersey next year, I will throw up. I will cry. Because you're too stubborn to give him a 5th year. While Steve Cohen is just rubbing his $1,000 bills together over in Queens. Waiting for DJ to say, I'm open to playing elsewhere. Get him back in the Bronx. ASAP, Cashman. Or everyone's going to riot. Everyone. Week 13 NFL Best Bets. I gave 3 NFL Best Bets 2 weeks ago. They went 2-1. I'll give 3 more this week. Hopefully go 3-0. First one, Washington plus 10 on Monday night against the Steelers. I just watched the Steelers play the Ravens with 20 guys on COVID. The Ravens had, and the Steelers barely could beat them. The Steelers' offense isn't anything that scares you. It's not a great offense. They work and they win games mainly because of their defense. Their defense gives them good field position, turns the ball over, gets a lot of sacks. Their offense doesn't have to do as much. They have a great plethora, and they have a great... I don't even know if I used that word right, but I think it is. They have a great plethora of weapons. Like, they have a lot of weapons around Big Ben. Their wide receivers are the real deal. But their offense isn't that great. They're not that great. And I think Washington's defense will keep this game close. Their defensive front is legit. They're good. They'll get pressure on Ben. Ben can't move around much. He's old. He won't move around much. He'll get sacked a few times. I think Washington keeps this, but within 10 points. 10 points seems like a lot. The Ravens just covered the 10 and a half, whatever it was, with RG3 at quarterback and everyone out. I think Washington can keep this game within 10. It'll be low scoring. It'll be an ugly game. But I think Washington will keep this within 10. That's my first best bet. My second best bet, Raiders -8, -8.5, -9. Whatever it is, different books have different numbers. I would play this up to 9.5. Raiders -9.5. I think the Raiders bounce back in a huge way. I think they end up winning this game by 10-14. They just got whooped by the Falcons. Probably the worst game I've ever seen them play. They didn't even score a touchdown. I think Derek Carr, everyone saw that picture of him where he was like, yeah, he looked pissed. Like, I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's going to have a monster game. I think Josh Jacobs going to have a monster game. Jets defense can't stop anybody. Jets might be able to score some points. Jets aren't going to be able to stop this Raiders offense. Raiders, I think, will win by 10-14. Again, I'd play this up to 9.5. 10 points might be a little too much just because the 10 could push. Up to 9.5, I'd be fairly confident Raiders bounce back in a huge way. And then my third best bet, Rams -3. I know I just talked about them being so up and down that I wasn't fairly confident in them, but they seem to bounce back big after losses. They seem to be able to bounce back, and I think they'll bounce back against the Cardinals on Sunday. The Cardinals' defense isn't that good, and I think the Rams have the defense to kind of give Kyler Murray some fits. You'll have Ramsey on Hopkins. That'll be the matchup of the weekend. Hopkins will get his, but Ramsey will be able to slow him down. And Kyler, when Kyler doesn't have Hopkins as number one go-to guy, you can see him. He starts to panic. He can't throw the ball as well. I think he will start using his legs more, which should benefit the Cardinals a little bit, but the Rams defense is just too good. Donald will get pressure straight in Kyler Murray's face. I think the Rams offense will score a decent amount of points here. It's Rams -3. It's not a huge line. I think they will cover the 3 points. I think they end up winning by 7, 8 points here. So I do like the Rams -3. I like them in a bounce back game against the Cardinals. So Rams -3. So my 3 best bets again, Washington +10, Raiders -8, and the Rams -3. Those are my 3 best bets. I hope next week we look back and I went 3-0. So there you go. Hopefully we make some money on those bets. Alright, I think I need to address this because I posted the YouTube Cam's Corner episode 1 last time, and I got a few people telling me after they saw it, do you know you kept going, you kept clearing your throat every 2 seconds? I know I did. I know. I filmed it plenty of times because I knew I was doing that, and I said, you know what, let me just take another take, and it happened every time. Yeah, I know I do that a lot. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to figure it out because it's driving me crazy too. And I know it probably drove you crazy watching a YouTube channel where the host and the only person talking every 2 seconds is going. So the Yankees and the NFL and the you're like, yeah, I know. It's annoying. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I hope I did better this episode. I tried to clear my throat, tried to drink some water, tried to make it I tried to make it so I didn't do that. I was trying very hard. So again, I hope I was better this episode. You don't have to point it out to me again next time. I know when I'm doing it. I saw it myself and I just didn't want to do another take. So I posted the last video hoping you guys wouldn't notice. But it's clearly the first thing that everyone noticed. So again, I'm hoping I'm not doing it for this episode. And I hope I don't have to do it for episodes to come because it drives me crazy. And I know it probably drives you crazy listening to it. So that's going to do it for episode 2 of Cam's Corner. Just talked about NFL, gave a little bit of brief introduction to MLB Offseason, really just ranted about DJ LeMahieu and Gary Sanchez and the Yankees. As the MLB Offseason continues, I will try to touch more on that once big signings happen, any trades, anything like that. NBA, I'm going to try to do an episode either next week or the week after, just kind of doing an introduction to the NBA season, what I expect, maybe some predictions, different things like that. That's starting at the end of December. So yeah, my sports ones are going to come out usually once a week on Friday. I'll talk about sports, different things like that. But I'm also going to try to put out more content. I want to do a challenge this weekend, maybe talk about pop culture or relevant news. So yeah, I'm going to try to put out more episodes. I'm going to try to maybe do a few episodes a week, more challenges. I'm also thinking about starting an Instagram page where I will try to just take videos fast on my phone, upload them to Instagram as something happens, as if a big trade or a big signing happens. I could just kind of do a quick recap on Instagram instead of having to film a whole YouTube video. So I'm going to try to make my Instagram channel soon, so go check that out. If you haven't already, go check out cams-corner.com. That's my blog. Again, I write articles about just pretty much anything going on in sports. Obviously, more about my teams, but if there's big news going on with any team, I'll try to write about it. So go check that out. Again, that's cams-corner.com. And just like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have a chance. Comment if you want. I'll respond to comments if you guys have any questions or anything like that. And again, thanks for tuning in. Hope you guys continue to tune in. And I will see everybody next time.